As you drive around Round Rock these days, you'll notice a lot of construction going on. Major road improvements are underway on Sam Bass Road and Chisholm Trail west of Interstate 35. Work on Kenny Fort Boulevard continues on the east side. Street maintenance is occurring in neighborhoods all over town. Now, what you may not know is that much of this work is being paid for through sales tax collections. And much of our sales taxes come from people who don't even live here. Interested in learning more? Great! We'd love to introduce you to the hardest working sales tax in Texas. Late summer is when Round Rock City Council puts the finishing touches on next year's budget. And that's when we usually provide a soup-to-nuts presentation of the complete budget document, showing you what your property taxes and utility rates will be paying for next year. This year, we thought we'd focus on sales tax. 2 reasons. 1, sales tax makes up most of our revenue. And 2, you may be unaware of all that sales tax does for you in Round Rock. Don't worry, we'll get to property taxes and utility rates later. But first, let's shed some light on the hardest working sales tax in Texas. When you purchase taxable goods and services in Round Rock, you pay 8.25% in sales taxes. 6.25% goes straight to the state of Texas. The other 2% stays here in Round Rock. It may not seem like much, but we make that 2% go a long way. Here's how. 1% goes for general government, 0.5% goes for reducing property taxes, and 0.5% goes for economic development and transportation. Let's break that down for you. The first 1% goes into the general fund to pay for basic local government services like police, fire protection, parks, and the library. That gives us another 1%, and here's where it gets interesting. The first 0.5% goes directly to reducing your property tax rates. This 0.5 cent was approved by Round Rock voters in 1987. Smart move. Since Dell moved to Round Rock in 1994, all of its Texas sales are sourced here. That means anytime one of Dell's Texas customers buys a taxable product or service, it generates sales tax revenue to the city of Round Rock. That 0.5 cent for property tax reduction has lowered Round Rock's property tax rate by 19 cents. When you consider our tax rate is around 42 cents, all you can say is, wow! The second 0.5% is for economic development, primarily in the form of major road projects. Voters approved this additional sales tax in 1997, another smart move. The city has leveraged the $173 million collected by this 0.5 cent into $535 million worth of projects. It bears repeating, wow! That's why we encourage our residents to shop the Rock. There are plenty of great shopping centers and retailers in town, and when you shop local, you're putting the hardest working sales tax in Texas to work for you. So shop the Rock. As promised, here's the lowdown on what's the proposed budget and tax rate for fiscal year 2013, which begins on October 1st. The $141 million plan features a slight decrease in the tax rate while pumping up the street maintenance budget by 36%. We continue to emphasize the programs that likely encouraged you to move to Round Rock in the first place: public safety, parks, and strong neighborhoods. We forecast sales tax revenue to increase by 4.6% to $45 million. That increased revenue will help pay for 2 new school resource officers in the police department, a new neighborhood development coordinator, and a new code enforcement officer. Increasing sales tax revenues will also fund the additional street maintenance we discussed earlier. The proposed tax rate is 42.03 cents per $100 of valuation. Last year's rate was 42.3 cents. If you compare the impact on an average value home, the property tax payment would drop by $12 next year. Our utility rates are unchanged in the proposed budget. The City Council adopted a 4-tier water rate structure in May to encourage conservation, and that will remain in place through the end of September as planned. Sewer, garbage, and drainage rates are the same as last fiscal year. When you compare Round Rock's tax and utility rates with neighboring communities, you can see we remain as one of the best values in Central Texas. To provide input on the budget, the City Council will hold a pair of public hearings in September when it votes on the budget and tax rate. You can also offer input via the city's blog at roundrocktexas.gov.